McGrath. We're at McGrath Farms. I am a 5th generation California farmer. I'm 4th generation Oxnard farmer.
My name is Tony DeVera, and I'm the farm manager here at the California Organic Center, which is a satellite research station of the Rodale Institute.
Well, my name is Arianna Bozzolo, and I'm the research director of Rodale Institute California Organic Center, so the California campus of Rodale. The research director here is in charge of create meaningful research for the area where we are located, of course oriented on organic and regenerative practices. My job and the job of the research center is doing research. For people that are not really familiar with research, it's kind of difficult to understand what we do. What I'm used to say is that doing research, it means being able to make the mistakes that growers cannot do or they cannot afford to do.
I'm Kesh Amo, and I'm one of the farm owners for the McGrath family farmers. And I feel that a lot of people see, can regenerative feed the world? But I think that the world could feed itself with regenerative farming. So my day-to-day is very different because I do multiple things. I'm in charge of the facilities, manage the field, do like the sales and the marketing. So there's like a whole host of things. I have a man of many hats, and so to me, like, that's definitely a challenge, but I feel that it's necessary for what we want to do. A lot of hard work, a lot of debt, incredible debt, but I think it's definitely necessary, and I think people like you who are spreading the word, I think is incredibly important.
I've learned so much from the customers in Los Angeles and Ventura and Santa Barbara. Yeah, to farm along the coastal ranges of Southern California is just great. It's paradise farming. The last 60 years has been strawberries and celery, which is a high water using crop. They're really alpine crops grown at sea level in a desert region under high tunnels. They do really well. They've figured it out how to use as little water as possible and still get the yields that make it productive. And that's the Oxnard Plains. Certainly we are at a pinnacle point. Things are changing because of water. I have to say, with this water crisis, there's been a lot of collaboration with farmers. All in all, the farmers are coming together to work together to keep this a farming region in the future.
As a satellite research station, the main thing that we do here is grant-funded research, a little bit of sponsored research, but primarily grant-funded research. And as the manager of this research farm, it's my job to make sure that everything gets done. Manage all the resources that we have to ensure that the experiments get into the ground in a timely fashion, that we have the materials and tools necessary to conduct our research experiments, to grow the crops that are part of our experiments, and also to gather the data. And that's the best way to sum up my job in a nutshell. I think the best sort of analogy you could make that many people would understand is maybe a financial one. And it's a way of thinking, are you running the business, or I guess in this case, the production of food, the production of fiber, fuel, all the other useful things that are made from agriculture, are you doing it in such a way that detracts from the bank account at the end of the day, or adds to the bank account? Except instead of it necessarily being a bank account, it's natural resources. Is your agricultural activity and your industry at the end of the day enhancing the agricultural resource that you started with, whether that's soil, nutrients, water, workforce, other environmental factors, or is it degrading it at the end of the day? And for pretty much all of human history, we have operated in a degrading way. You just wind back the clock a couple thousand years, the easiest resource to degrade was people. Like slavery was super popular for a very long time. Now the easiest resource to degrade is the atmosphere.
I'm Irish. We cry a lot. And I love that fact that that, yeah, I don't mind crying.
Well, soil is important in general, not only for regenerative organic. And actually, soil brought me to the interest of soil health. Brought me to my background is in grapes for wine, and in grapes they say that there is a terroir that is related to the soil that then it brings up flavor and aromas in the wine. And I read this book when I was young that was talking about soil health and how in the soil there's this million of microorganisms that lives in there, and if we feed them, they will feed our plants, and then our plants will be healthier, and in case of grapes, we'll have the great quality. So that's why I started, I got involved in agriculture and later in viticulture, and now I think it makes sense to instead of getting people drunk, make food for them, and I think it's a more ethical way to lead your life. But no, soil health is important in in general because the soil produces our food. If the soil is healthy, our food will be healthy.
Well, I would warn you, if you're ready for a challenge, if you really want really something to really hit you hard, like in problem solving, then I think being a regenerative farmer, for sure, take it on. But I wouldn't say that like lightly for anybody. Just go ahead and do that. Please start a garden, have a seed in the ground, know how meet your farmers, go to the farmers market, get in touch with how the better you feel with healthy food and exercise and the ways of thinking that kind of see you being a part of the whole, and then kind of do that. But being a regenerative farmer, I wouldn't want to run to it, make the money wherever you need to make it, but because it's a lot of hard work. It's very tough, for sure.
I love it when I see it in Tinseltown and people that spend their whole life devoting to something special, and they start crying because it's so true. We've got to change the world. We can't keep existing this way. And it's pretty neat when so many young people get it. There is an old Chumash Indian saying that you don't inherit this land from your forefathers, you borrow it. So you borrow it from your children's children's children. And if you look at it that way, you find out how important education is. And that's why it was so important to me. I've had so many children up here, so many. It was really important. And we always had a pumpkin patch. We always had you pick strawberries. And that's the future.
Really inspiring teacher of mine, mentor, he said that, culture, we ask ourselves, what is culture? What is culture about? What really is culture? He said that culture is the relationship that people have with the things that sustain them. And a lot of the interest in agriculture and how things are made, that we're seeing a lot more in the call for transparency around how things are made, is a genuine reflection of that. Because we've gotten, most of us in our day-to-day have an extremely specialized job that does something very unique in an extensively complicated, 10,000 step supply chain, and you just feel very divorced from doing something that's really tangible and maybe even useful. And a lot of the yearning towards like starting my own farm or learning how to garden or how to grow is really getting back in touch with the things that sustain, your existence and your life.